All right. Welcome to episode 58 of the Jake Blanchard podcast, brought to you in part by Stream to See. They're an all natural sunscreen and personal care products company out there making a difference. They're not just reef safe, but they're safe for you so that you can apply it without worries of estrogen mimicking chemicals, plastics, or heavy metals. Jake Blanchard podcast listeners get 10% off at stream2c.com with the code JBP. Check them out. Also, we're brought to you by Fellowship Brand. They make premium men's grooming products, beard oils, butters, balms, and more. They use all natural ingredients. And I'm telling you, the tattoo balm that they make is absolutely incredible. Fellowshipbrand.com, JBP at checkout, 10% off your order. My guest today is Matt Espeut. He's a certified personal trainer, conditioning coach for over 25 years. He's helped hundreds of people look, move, and feel better while boosting their self-esteem, self-confidence, and overall health to new levels. He's worked with all ages, abilities, shapes, sizes, and he's been able to deliver results for those who follow his program. He's business-minded. He believes in self-development, team development, putting himself out there around top experts and motivators, keeps fueling his fire. And I've known him for about 2 years. We went through the Modern Day Night Project together. He's the kind of guy who picks up the phone on a regular basis and gives me a call just to see how I'm doing. He's a great man to have in my life, and he's an honor to have on my podcast. Matt, welcome, brother.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jake, man. It's a real honor to be here. And thanks for that great introduction, man. I feel like, a little bit better now, like when hearing it from you, my man. So it's always good. It was good to see you, and, even though it's in video form, but, it's been a great couple of years, getting to know you, my friend.
Oh, for sure, man. I always savor the opportunity to see you in real life. We've had the opportunity to do that a couple times, and I'm looking forward to the next one. But you're out on the East Coast. You're out in Rhode Island. How are things going there? How's the COVID bounce back going around your area?
It's going well. You'd never know by my accent that I'm from the East Coast, but that's it. Thanks for giving that away there, Jake. But no, the bounce back is good, my man. We've bounced back. We're pretty much trying to open the floodgates, and we're full throttle. No masks in the gym. Still sanitizing the sneakers, still doing a few things. Actually, some good things had come out of COVID for us in regards to the way we run our business and the way we run our processes and procedures. So all good back here. We're pretty much, like I said, full steam ahead, and now we just got to bring it back. I'm pretty close to COVID levels. Pretty close to pre-COVID levels. Getting that membership base back up, and trying to get that business back to being profitable again.
So that's awesome. And so you just mentioned you're, obviously the accent originally from the East Coast. Are you originally from Rhode Island, or what area are you from there on the East Coast?
Yeah, Providence, Rhode Island. Grew up in, Little Rhodey my whole life. The typical, we're so Rhode Islander is like these guys that never get out. You know what I mean? You never leave the state. It's kind of like that small town mentality. I was fortunate enough to see the light, and I traveled, even though I never relocated. When I was younger, that would have probably been my move. But, I have a pretty solid family here. I have a grandmother still alive. Both my parents are still alive. Unfortunately, I don't have any more siblings that are still alive. I lost both my siblings, my sister and brother. But I have a great girlfriend back home. At my home right now, and I just never left. I just been rooted to Rhode Island. I was born, like I said, raised here. Kind of hung out here my whole life. Like I said, I did some extensive travel, and I still do to this date. I get out of here as much as I possibly can. But this has basically been my home for 53, going on 53 years.
Nice, man. And obviously, per the intro, you're in the fitness industry. Is that something that you've always been in since you were a kid, like something that you were really interested in, or something you found later in life? Take me through that maturation.
As a kid, I was kind of classified as one of the burnouts in school, growing up in school. Yeah. So really fitness was not my forte. I did play football, though. I did want to play football because I did like the sport. So, I really had no former athletic training at all. I was kind of a tall, skinny kid in high school, about 6 feet, 180. And I got into playing football, and to get ready for football, me and a bunch of guys would, a couple of kids would go down to the boys club, and had no idea what we were doing. We go push some things on the universal, work out for a little bit, jump in the pool, and then grab a bag of pretzels and a can of soda and walk home. That was pretty much my endeavor in the fitness thing. And like after football practice, I'd always have that pack of cigarettes on my dashboard, and just after practice we'd be lighting up the cigarettes, and sometimes drinking a few beers after football. So no, health and fitness was really not in my wheelhouse until I reached about 19 years old. And then, a buddy of mine, he was kind of a stocky kid. He started lifting, and I was like, "Damn, you look like you're getting big pretty fast." And he's like, "Yeah, you should start lifting. You're skinny, So I was like, "Okay." So I got into it, and kind of never looked back. I just kind of like the feeling. I like seeing my body develop and grow. Kind of an ego thing. People started to notice, and it just became an obsession with me, which pretty much everything does, good and bad, that I do in my life becomes an obsession. So I have that obsessive compulsive behavior, where I always want to take things to the next level. I actually competed in a few bodybuilding shows going back 1996 and 1998. So I took it to that level where that's basically how I am. I do something, I enjoy it. It's like, okay, this is not good enough just to do it. Let me compete and see how good I can do at it, And so I back in, let me see, I got certified as a personal trainer in 1990. I'm looking at the certification now on my wall. 1994, I've been certified since. So through American Council on Fitness. And, I became serious and professional about it. Again, we can talk about this a little bit more in depth too. I had some speed bumps in the road of life here, and I ended up, going away for a little bit, and I had a lot of time on my hands, and I decided that, I need to do something productive with my life. And, I was, pushing around some weights in the can. Like this was obviously, I started working out when I was 19. This was about, I was like 22, 23. And I was a pretty big guy when I went away, and, I was kind of helping some other guys get fit and train with, a bunch of guys wanted to train with me. And I said, I need to study up and get my personal training certificate. And that's where I took that route and went and got certified in 1994. I saw guys around the gym. I was like, these guys are getting paid to teach people how to work out. Like I would do this for free. Like I can't believe you can make money doing this. Right. I used to, I enjoyed it so much. So
yeah, you just touched on a little hot button. I got to go back to you there. I mean, you said you had a couple speed bumps along the way. You talked about, maybe this was something that just kind of progressed through youth. As far as I don't remember the exact word that you just used to describe yourself when you were a youth, but what was that like? What was the kind of the trouble with speed bumps that you found yourself in along the way?
Well, I mean, I was seventh, eighth grade, and I was, I came from you know, back to my parents. They were 19 and 20 when they had me, so they were loving and caring folks. I never went without. I was always well taken care of. But I mean, obviously, at that age, you don't have the most common sense as a parent, and I had a lot of freedom, and I saw a lot of things growing up. And I got into dealing weed early in life. Eighth and ninth grade, and like in high school, I was buying dime bags and selling joints on the street, and then that just kept getting progressing, and then I ran into some old, started hanging out with a little different crowd as I got out of high school and got a little older. Ran into some people that had connections down south, and then I just started to parlay. Again, whether it was good or bad, I got obsessive and I had compulsive, and like I saw like, hey, making money's easy, man. Let me just, and I swung for the fences and I went big. So going from dime bags to ounces to pounds to multiple pounds to hundreds of pounds. I mean, it's like the stepladder of progression of drug dealing. Compiles fast if you're good at it. And again, it was one of those things where I just went too big too fast, and I took a big hit, and I was made an example of. And that was not, up until that point I had minor brushes, juvenile stuff that was like, never did any kind of real time away from home, so to speak. And then that kind of gave me maybe a false sense of security, figuring I was invincible and I wasn't going to get caught. And guess what? Not lying, you either get caught or you die, one or the other. And I got lucky to get caught, actually, because kind of changed my projection in life. Like after being caged up like an animal for a couple of years, I decided that this is not the life I wanted. I was not going to come back here. Like I was not going to be, I was, I was liking the good life. I was liking the life I was leading, being a roller, but I told myself like, hey, listen, all the money I made, I just lost it by being away. So it just averages out, so that fast money doesn't last money. You know what I mean? So I got out and started getting real serious with, studying for real estate and my personal training. I got my personal training certification first. And I actually was this gym that was opening up. I was working out at this hardcore world gym in Providence. And it's like all the biggest dudes, like all the meatheads. And, obviously, like if you want to fit in, you had to do the juice, right? So I got a little bit involved in doing that, got pretty big in my day. I was like almost 260 pounds at 6'3". So I was a pretty big specimen.
Whoa.
But with that being said, I found this gym that was just opening. It was a Gold's Gym. They weren't even open yet. So I went in, I was on work release. I had that ankle monitor on. I was working for my dad at the time. I was on home confinement. And, I came over and I applied for this job, and I lied on my application. They were like, well, have you been convicted of a felony in the past 5 years? And I was like, no. I put no. So any event, they hired me, and I kept going back, and because they were doing the construction on the gym, and I was like, you sure I'm in? You sure I'm in? And they're like, yep, great. So back in 1996, I think was when it was like 94. That's the year I got certified. I was like fresh out of college. I so to say Yale, but the J is silent. So I was fresh out, and I started building my personal training business. And again, that went fast like that. Like I got one client, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna refer my friends. You're the greatest." And I was like, "Great, another one." Before you know it, I was personal training like 40, 45 hours a week, and within like a year, my personal training business grew within this gym that I was working at. And, I'm grateful for them for giving me that opportunity and let me build my business there. And, again, that's just how it went. Like I said, I get into something, and when it starts to work for me, like I just rolled with it. And like I had like all kinds of clients, all kinds of different age groups, different levels. Young kids I helped train, some older people I helped train. I was working in a nursing home. I was helping people get into fitness in their 90s. It was like all kinds of great stuff was happening to me, my first year of freedom. So I rolled with it and just went with that profession.
And what was that like as you reflect on it, like knowing that you did time away and how difficult that must be, and then being back and knocking it out of the park, like just getting that momentum, starting to roll, having some gravity and weight around you, like maybe reflect on those feelings just for a minute. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, dude, being away was like such a shock to me. Like it was just like happened so fast. It wasn't like, you get caught, you get arraigned, you go out on bail. No, I was caught, I was buried right there. They would no bail, they didn't do anything. Like, so I got picked up from living a nice cushy life. I was having cash in my pocket, great girlfriend, all this stuff, cars, money, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden living like in a cell, like an animal, so that was pretty much culture shock. And I was like, counting down the days until I got out. And I got out and I had just renovated an apartment upstairs for my dad. And I was like, oh man, this feels so good to be back home. Like, I just like cherish this freedom. Like I'm never going back again. Like I took out the black box that I was stealing cable with. I was like, there's nothing that's going to send me back. Like I had one of those sticks. I'm like, I'm never going to steal cable again. I'm doing everything by the book from now on, legit, that was just, and it felt pretty good to actually be doing something constructive and doing something that impacted people's lives for the better. I was a hard worker. I was brought up from a hardworking family. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. And those guys both worked. They still, to this day, my grandfather passed away, but my dad's still, 72 years old, still getting up, going to work every day. So they instilled that work ethic into me, even though I tried to make the money fast, and, I saw the glamour and the glitz of being a drug dealer or whatever. I just kind of said, hey, listen, that I did that. I've been there. I tried it. I failed at that. I'm doing something good for myself. I'm improving people's lives. I'm helping people move better. Let me go with this, and like I said, my first year, I made, 60 grand. It was just like, that was like good money back in those days, for first year out, so I felt like a pretty good success story, going that route, and I kept my, and then I got this, this insatiable appetite to keep learning.
Yeah.
I never fell back on like, oh, great, look how great my business is. I'm the best there is. No, I always, and I was one of the very few trainers in my facility that kept going, driving to New York or taking the train to New York, flying out to Miami to go to these conferences. And I just like absorbed and learned so much. And it just kind of gave me the thought process that like you're never going to learn enough. Like you can never learn too much, right? You can never learn too much. You can never learn enough, type of thing. So I just kept that going, man, and just that, just a passion for fitness. And now, well, let's rewind to September of 2014, when I went from just being a brick and mortar personal trainer in a big box gym to buying my own facility. I was like a whole new level of learning, right? So I feel like I had to re-educate myself 7 years ago, moving up till now, as to how to run a business, man, how to market, how to keep and keep retention high, and build a team and leadership and all these different things. So it's like I've gone through these different phases of learning. I went from learning the skill set to be a personal trainer, the anatomy, the kinesiology, the movement patterns. Once you get that stuff down, like as long as the number one golden rule of a personal trainer is do no harm, right? So, if you got people moving around, they're feeling good, they're invigorated. You don't necessarily need to be, anatomy teacher on that level. When you come to work out with somebody, you don't care like what connects to what inserts to what. You just need to make them feel good, So the past bunch of years, I haven't had as much of an emphasis as learning the technical, so to say, personal training lingo. Is I'm learning more like the leadership and the customer, customer satisfaction end of it, and the business development part of it. So I've kind of shifted I would say my major to
Yeah.
more of this kind of stuff now, so.
Yeah. So what was that catalyzing moment that made you decide that you wanted to go from training at a say a big box gym or doing the personal training stuff to being an entrepreneur, being independent, building that team? Like, was there a trigger in your mind? Was it financially driven mostly? Like something you always wanted to do?
Well, there's a lot of different things though, Jake, I've worked for myself most of my life. Even, there was a stint when I did some construction work. I worked for this local company here, and I learned a lot from these guys. And then I learned enough to go out on my own, and do my own stuff. So I did my own construction, work for a little bit while. And I dabbled back in that when the personal training industry, took a little bit of a dip back in the, when the housing market crashed, because basically the wealthier people were the only ones able to train, and my working class people kind of like, cut me loose because they had to cut their budget, so I was in the big box gym for a while, and everything was going great. I was making my own hours, and I was lining my cash, my pockets full of cash, and it was great. And I'm not saying anything bad about the owners of the facility, because they gave me a lot of great opportunities there, but I kept coming to them saying, listen, I want to do more than just rent space from you. Like I want to run like a nutrition program. I want to run like a bunch of personal trainers. Like I want to do something different, like within this gym that, that can kind of, develop and build. Like, I don't want to just be showing up every day, training somebody and leaving. Like, I want to do more than that. I want to have an office. I want to have, my own stuff. And they were like, well, yeah. And it never came to fruition. They kept, passing me over for other people that were less qualified, less experienced than me. And I couldn't quite figure it out. So, again, I'm not going to be like a crybaby and, why me? Why didn't you pick me type of thing? So I was like, okay, well, I went out to the Fitness Business Summit in 2014, was one of my, I had a bunch of different conferences. So I was at this crossroads in my life. So yeah, there is a reason for that. Right. So, I was at this crossroads in my life where I was making some good money doing construction work. I was making some good money doing personal training, and they both kind of tanked out a little bit at the same time. And I was like kind of living off my savings at that point, going into 2014, end of 2013, beginning of 2014. And, I said that, I can't go on like this too much longer, because I'm A, going to run out of money, and B, like when I run out of money, like what am I going to do? Right. So I said, I'm going to go out to California, and I'm either going to find a job out there and stay there, or I'm going to find an idea that nobody has around here and bring it back here. Like I did that years ago with a spinning studio, and I brought back cycling, AKA spinning, before anybody was even doing it on the East Coast. And I was successful with that for a little while. And then me and my partner had a little falling out, and we dissolved that business. But in any event, back to 2014. So I went out to the Fitness Business Summit. I made that decision because Randy Couture was guest speaking at that. And I had a bunch of different like conferences that I wanted to attend, but I somehow was leaning towards that one. I didn't even know really who Bedros was and like, what his deal was. I watched a few videos of his, but I ended up going to Fitness Business Summit and they were advertising these Fit Body boot camps. And I was like, damn, what a great idea. Like I could totally do that. Small buy-in, small investment up front, but boatloads of cash on the back end, so I thought easy cash, right? But anyway, a couple $1,000s down on my credit card showed my my level of interest. They locked me into a spot. I flew back a few times and just so the storyline of my Fit Body Bootcamp was March of 2014. I went out to California. I saw the idea. It looked like a great idea. June of 2014, I signed the lease. In September of 2014, I opened my doors. So it was like a quick thing like that, where I just kind of blasted through. And now here I am 7 years later, still standing at Providence Fit Body Bootcamp. So I don't know if I answered your question, if I went around.
Absolutely, man. That's I love hearing the genesis or like the origin story. So you've been in doors open for the last 7 years. I mean, obviously ups and downs, bumping into the walls. Like what advice or like what information have you gathered over the last 7 years of being an entrepreneur?
I mean, just there's so much. Like where do you begin? Like number one is obviously you need to generate leads, right? Lead generation is a big thing. Build your email list. Just keep putting out good, useful content to people. Sometimes you got to give away some free stuff, right? And I do every week. I write an article every week, gets published in a local publication, a web-based platform called Go Local Prov. So I just what I've learned is that just opening up a business, you don't just open the door. I have no formal training, no formal education, no formal college background, and just a street thug that had my money in a rubber band, which actually I still have my money in a rubber band, like something to die, right? So, that was my business systems were a black book and a pencil, and that was pretty much it. But now it's like, to run the business and to scale it and to be, I'm at like 240 members right now, and to be able to contact and touch each and every one of them, you need a team, you need systems, and you need to just be proactive and show up every single day. There's so many things that I've learned over these past 7 years about running a business and, how to market and, again, how to generate leads and use Facebook and all that stuff. And I still don't I don't run my own ads. I always have to hire somebody to do that because technology is not my wheelhouse. And, it's like one of those things where I don't want to say compartmentalize myself and say I'm not good at technology, but I figure it out. I try to get it to work, but it's not my strong suit. So, something like that is better off subbed out to somebody else rather than me waste a whole boatload of time trying to figure stuff out and untangle the stuff that that I would screw up if I did attempt it, So, that kind of stuff, I just know who to hire and who I should be talking to. It's knowing the experts is a good lesson to learn too. Like know that you're not an expert at everything, and know that there's some things that you just shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I love that. I love your perspective on just one kind of understanding that the lead gen, number one, like you got to have people coming through the doors. You got to be able to show your wares from a product standpoint, or what you're putting out there and the quality of that product, and then two, knowing yourself, knowing what you're good at, knowing where you need to gravitate to and how you lead that team. I think that's incredible advice. How are you staying motivated these days? I mean, this last 18 months, I mean, I've had a lot of people on the podcast talking about how they stay motivated as a gym owner and as somebody who was kind of forcefully had your doors closed for who knows how long. I mean, maybe you can unpack that experience, but how do you stay motivated during that time of COVID, and how do you stay motivated today?
Yeah, it all comes from up here, man. You just gotta flip that switch every morning. Every morning I get up and I know what's ahead of me. I just know it's gonna be a hard road. And every day, whether you're in COVID or not, every day's a battle, man. You just got to get up and you got to be prepared for it, right? You got to prepare to eat a couple, pardon my language, but a couple shit sandwiches a day.
Yeah, 100%.
You just can't expect sunshine and rainbows. And again, I don't like to think of oh, expect the worst and hope for the best, because there's no such thing as yeah, you can keep hope alive, and hope kind of keeps you moving forward. But you know what? There's no such thing as luck. Things can come your way if you put yourself in a better situation. But for me to stay motivated, man, I kept myself fit. Like my fitness is always on point. I'm nursing. Like I'm always nursing like little injuries here and there, but I try to work around them and instead of through them. Like in the days like of working through pain, those days are over. But just keeping myself fit, keeping myself physically strong.
And how old are you right now?
50. I'll be 53 in September. So
53. You're in hell of good shape for 53, man.
Yeah. I'd like to think that I'm in good shape for any age. So it's
no, that's true. You're you're better in shape than I am.
I don't know about that. I mean, you're pretty solid yourself. But what are you, like 30?
34.
Yeah, 34, right? So, just knowing that I can like go out and run some sprints with the kids in my high school football team and stuff like that, it makes me feel pretty good. And knowing that like I can beat a few of them actually makes me feel even better. So, I keep up my routine every day. I have my morning routine that I do religiously, pretty much every day. And just knowing that, like, listen, there's days that, I'm driving to work and I'm like, what am I doing, man? It's just like 4 a.m. Well, actually I get up at 4. By the time I get on the road, it's like 4:30. I'm looking at all these houses. They're all dark. I'm like, these smart people are still sleeping. Like, but the thing is, like, everybody's got to work, man. Everybody's got to work. And my alternatives would be, back in the construction business or doing something, and everybody every day has to grind, right? There's not many people that can get up every day and say, every day my job is going to be this 8 hours of bliss, so everybody's grinding, everybody has to do it, and I always keep myself motivated by saying, like, you're no exceptions to the rule, man. Everybody else has to work, you do too. You're not entitled to anything, right? So none of us are, although a lot of people feel they are. I motivate myself by saying that nobody is entitled to an easy life. We're put on this earth from day one of birth. It's survival mode, right? No matter what species we are, right? We look at humans and think that we should all have this great cushy life because we're human beings. But when you look at going back to our prehistoric times, to every animal that's born, it's a struggle from the day you were born. Like, you don't know if you're going to make another day, So that kind of keeps me motivated, that knowing that, like, you just got to get up and put the gloves on every morning and just start swinging from the time you get out of bed, And like I said, I do that with my morning routine. It's like, not every day I feel like getting up and doing a bunch of push-ups. Not every day I feel like getting up and drinking my wellness shake and, reading my 5 to 10 pages a day. Like, there are days I just don't feel like doing it, but I do it. You know what I mean? I just dig deep. I do it. And part of the reason why, I'm sure we'll talk about this, is why I went through the project, was because I felt like, I just needed to be challenged even more. Like, I challenge myself. I have my set of discipline, my non-negotiables I do, but I just need to be challenged even more. So like I said, just facing that challenge keeps me motivated in a short answer.
Oh, what a clean segue, my man. That's kind of where I wanted to take the conversation next, was the Modern Day Night Project. And for those regular listeners, I've certainly talked about the project before, have had all 5 instructors on at one point in time. It's a 75-hour personal development program for men that's focused on leveling up in life and leadership and all those areas. It digs deep into your core. It is a fascinating, interesting, and very difficult experience that about 40% of people end up ringing the bell and dropping out of once they've committed to it. And so, Matt, I mean, you and I are part of class 001. The plank group,
baby.
Numero uno, in my opinion, the group number 1. But the project had not taken place, obviously, prior to us going there. So there was no sizzle reels, there was no like videos, there was no like website associated with it. The 12 of us showed up on the expectations that the individuals who were putting it on were world class, which they were, and that they were going to take us through a life-changing experience. And so, Matt, maybe give me your perspective of what you thought you were getting into, and then let's reflect a little bit on the project, brother.
Well, just judging by how we all packed to go there, tells you a little bit about what we expected. When they said pack casual, California casual during the day, which means khaki shorts, and and we all came out with these suitcases where, I figured, we're going to get our butts handed to us with a tough workout in the morning, and go through some self-development classroom sessions, and potentially go through some tough workouts in the middle of the day, and then maybe finish off with another tough workout or something to that effect. I didn't realize that we were going to get hammered from the time we showed up, and we would be able to do nothing right the whole 75 hours. Actually, I kept asking myself, like, what the hell did I sign up for this? I'm 50 years old. Like, what are you, an idiot? Like, what's going on here, right?
Well,
So
dude,
yeah,
we're coming up. We're coming up, by the way. This is we're recording this on the 6th of July. This will probably drop in about a week or so. But our 2-year anniversary was the 9th. I believe it went July 9th.
Was it the 9th or the 11th? I knew it was somewhere around.
Might have been, yeah, maybe somewhere around there. Maybe it was the 10th, 11th, somewhere in there. I know.
I ripped my hand open on 4th of July, and I said, "Oh, good. If I get stitches today, it gives me 7 days to heal." So I'm thinking that it was
okay, somewhere around the 11th. All right,
give me a week to heal, right? So, yeah, my expectations were nowhere near, that we were going to be digging deep into our toxic cognitions and the seek and destroy, and just being pushed to that level of like operating on no sleep. And although I do get harassed by some of the later guys in the project by saying, "Oh, you guys had good food and this and that," there's nothing more valuable. I would have traded every perk that we had to know what was coming at us.
100%.
I think the unpreparedness gave us a huge disadvantage, right? So, with that being said, I know, some classes had a lot harder. Some guys ended up with some burns on their hands, and yeah. We didn't do the buried alive. We didn't do the, crawling in the pit and the sticks. But I feel like we got punished pretty much and for not knowing what to expect. One of the guys I went to his house, he had bought an ice bath before the project because he saw pictures of us in the ice bath. So he was prepared for it. I wasn't prepared for 3 minutes in sub-zero, 32 degree water. Like I almost froze to death in that thing, man. It's just, so yeah. So
it's crazy though. I think that was what you just touched on was probably one of my biggest takeaways was the fact that 1, I had no idea what was coming next. 2, I was not in control whatsoever. And that was such a powerful position for me to be in, because anytime that I didn't know what was coming next or I wasn't in control was a prerequisite for me quitting just about so many things in my life. And so to have that and to just, it'd be completely different than my expectations, at least in a lot of ways. Same with you, like bringing the California casual weather down, and then get my suitcase tossed and saying, "Okay, well, here's your T-shirt for the next 75 hours. Like, let's go." And being sleep deprived and being kind of dragged through it. I came out the other end a different person in so many ways, and maybe reflect now on how that's changed your life and if it has.
I just know that what I can take now, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know how much pressure I could actually take in life, and just by like you said, nothing we did was right, and then no matter how well we did something, it was still wrong. And, basically it was the kick in the teeth that life isn't fair. Screw you, get up and do it again and try to do it better this time. Right. So, what I took about, from that was that like the internal versus the external motivation is that you can't wait for external motivation. You can't wait for somebody to be a cheerleader, man. You're going to have that motivation come from within. And that's when like, I believe it was Matt Schneider saying like it took you guys 4 times to like actually get things right, because like instead of just coming out of the gate and giving it your all right from the start, right? Why did you wait to be beat down and smashed and thrown to the ground so many times before you could actually get something right? So, reflecting on that showed me that like I had a lot in the tank. Like first of all, we didn't even know we could ring the bell. Like I didn't even think that was like an option. Like who's going to be the first one to ever ring the bell in the project, right? Like you feel like such a loser if you did that, and again, the 2 guys that did were kind of, not to that next level, you know what I'm saying? So not saying that they're losers or anything like that, because they were both really good guys, but they just didn't have that deep down, I believe that calloused like mentality that like me as an old dude that's been through a lot of shit. Like you guys were all like tough, fit guys. Like I just saw that I could go through and be punished and hang. I don't want to say hang like I was middle of my class, like a lot of you guys outran me and did stuff like that. But just to know that I could hang with a younger group of guys, just know I had it in me that I was not a quitter. Like I'd gone through a lot of shit in my life, you know what I mean? Just thinking back, I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and I'm like, God damn, man, I'm surprised I didn't go the wrong way. I didn't go down that path that most of my classmates went down in Central Falls, and my brother and, my uncles and all that stuff, being a product of that environment, and it's like, all the trials and tribulations that, I had encountered. And then it all came to like a head in the project. And it's like, damn, man, I've survived a lot of things in life. And like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to quit this. Like, this is not going to break me. Like, I even told my team when I left, I said, I'm either going to be coming home in a body bag, or I'm going to be coming home with a graduation pin on me. I said, there's no other option,
Oh, 100%, man. It was a really eye-opening opportunity for me. It was eye-opening that I was purposely thinking that I was giving it my all, and then understanding that the gap between where I was giving and what I'm capable of giving was way bigger than I had ever imagined. And now, like, I try to gravitate toward hard things. I see a lot of people around me kind of getting softer as time goes by. They don't gravitate toward the hard stuff. And that's really what we need to do, is embrace those difficult things, to push ourselves and to max that out. Because eventually, if you get soft enough, then the little things in life, those will seem like mountains. And I'm just not willing to do that, man. I'm just, and that's what a perspective to walk away with.
Yeah. And the thing is, you made a good point. And I came to this conclusion here, like the other day, is that when societies get softer, it seems like people lower their standards, right? So from back in, I was never in the military. That was another reason why I wanted to do the project, because one regret in my life, I always liked that military style efficiency. I was always enthralled by, the military and the lineup and the uniform and just the discipline that, and I never did. I never went in. My dad was kind of a hippie back in the day. And I don't know, there might've been some conflicts going on in the world when I was like 18. He's like, oh, I'll drop something on your foot and break your foot. You won't be able to go, type of thing. Like, hippie, anti, government type of dude. And like him and his friends coerced me not to do the military. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do, with the project, was like be around these Navy SEALs and be around these Marines and be around these uber disciplined type of guys. Because I do have that little bit of regret that I never went into the military. But from what I understand is that because so many people fail like the original boot camp, that they lowered the standards in boot camp to make it easier so more people can pass, same thing with like, just something from my industry, is that sugar requirements, right? So, the average, the guidelines for, getting too much sugar is like under 20 grams a day. But it's so hard to do that they bumped it up to like 26 grams a day, right? Because people fail at setting standards for themselves. So what do? We lower the standards, right? So, and I see that all the time. Like, I don't believe in participation trophies. And, I read the book Winning by Tim Grover. Like that's a really good book to, for you to pick up and check out, because it talks about like, winning is not pretty, it's not proud, it's not happiness, it's dirty, it's grinding, it's pushing that envelope to reach that pinnacle, right? Nobody sees that part of winning, right? Everybody just wants to walk up on stage and collect their trophy, but nobody wants to get down in the dirt and grind through the mud. And so as a society as a whole, as you were saying earlier, is like, I think that people have lowered their standards to things, and that's why the project was such a good thing, because it raised our standards. It wasn't like, okay, just past the finish line. It's like, just keep sprinting. Your last fastest step should be when you hit that finish line. You shouldn't be pulling back 5 yards before you hit the finish line. You know what I'm saying? So like that kind of parallel to like how I feel in today's society is like, no, man, like, and you hear it from people all the time, oh, you're too hard on yourself, you're this, you're that. Oh, give yourself some credit. Well, man, listen, it's not my place to give myself credit. You want to give me credit, I'll take it, right? But it's not my place to give myself credit, right? I'll give you credit, I'll give people credit for doing good things. If I deserve credit, then I'll take it. But it's not my position to be giving myself credit. I'll wait, I'll take the credit from somebody else, but
Yeah, and I totally, I steal this from Alan Hundrino, and I use it on the podcast all the time. Blissfully dissatisfied. Like I'm okay just driving forward all the time and just not being satisfied with my output, my performance. I'm happy. Yeah. Like, and I understand that there's going to be if I sit and get complacent, if I sit back and say, okay, well, this is good enough, it'll drive me crazy. Yeah. Complacency kills. You got that tattoo
Make
on
sure
your,
I remember that every day, brother. I remember
yeah,
that every day. You
it
know, and we
absolutely
can't help
does.
it. We can't help it. There's times where it's like I make 3 calls, I do 3 sales. I'm like, ah, cool, man. I'm heading out to the lake today. Like, hey, there are days like that where I say to myself, damn, I should have made 7 more calls. I was on a roll, man. I
Yeah.
should have done more. But again,
You got to live.
step in progress. Progress is a good thing, right? So, quitting is not in the creed, and quitting is not an option. So
100%. Well, man, it's 2021. We're midway through the year. What are you excited about on the second half of the year this year? What do you got going? What are you reading? What are you closing a skills gap on? Like, what are you fired up about?
I'm just fired up about, I set my 90-day goals. I've been pretty diligent about that. I think ever since the project, like setting my 90-day goals and following through. I'm also part of another mastermind called Todd Durkin. I don't know if you're familiar with Todd. He's a well-renowned fitness pro. He's based out in California, and I started following him. So like between him and the project, like I'm really honed in on my 90-day goals. So my 90-day goal right now is to hit 300 members by the end of September, and I'm super fired up about that. I'm super fired up about the team that I have now and how I'm building my team. I have 2 real rock solid guys that are working for me now, and I have a rock solid assistant. Just taking on another dude as a coach, and he's going to be a 40-hour-a-week coach for me. So we're going to level him up. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be going out and seeing you guys. I don't know if you're doing the couples retreat for the
Yep,
project in
I
September.
am.
So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm trying to, work on my relationship with my girlfriend Melody. And, relationships have always been tough for me. I've been kind of a lone wolf my whole life. And, like that, it's always a struggle for me to kind of share my space with somebody else. I'm like an old, set in my ways type of man. And, so I want to go out and work on that. That's going to be big. Just like my overall health and fitness, it's coming up on a year anniversary. I had a little bit of a health issue last August. I think that you can remember that, when I was in the hospital for a few days.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited. Like I just, I kind of like got this feeling like, I want to make it through and not relapse and not have another episode this summer. I want to make it through the summer with my health being on point and, staying in great shape and just, kicking back, enjoying a little bit at my dad's lake house. We got a couple of small like staycation trips planned and stuff like that. So, that's got me pretty fired up. With changing some systems over and, Fit Body Boot Camp, the franchise is going in a whole different direction than when I first bought into it. So they're kind of systemizing and like a real franchise. Like when you go to a Starbucks and you order a macchiato here or Seattle or Idaho, you're going to get the same macchiato. So Fit Body's kind of, raising their standards a little bit. So I'm excited about what's to come with that. So, that's pretty, we're talking about the 4 F's, like finances, like I want to dig myself back out. I'm pretty much, some of the good things with COVID was I got myself totally out of debt, but I also got an SBA loan during COVID, and I just used a bunch of that money to renovate my gym. So I got a whole new facility here. So I'm super excited about that, creating a nice new fresh facility. So I did use some of my SB loans. So I did go back into debt a little bit, minor,
Yeah.
But it's all consolidated. It's all in one place, and I'm good. I'm good with that. I invested back into the business, so I want to see some growth in the business. Some growth in obviously always working on being a better leader. Reading leadership books right now. I'm actually reading. I got a gift from Bedros, the Perfect Week Formula. So I've
Yeah.
been reading. I just finished reading
Is
Winning by Ken Grover.
is that the perfect week formula? Is that Craig
Craig
Ballantyne?
Valentine,
Yeah.
yep. So pretty organized guy, I just learning some just kind of like what I already know. Like again, dude, once we go through so many hours of self-development, you hear the same stuff over and over again, but it's like doing reps at the gym. Like, yeah, I bench pressed last week, but I'm bench pressing again this week too. You know what I mean? So it's just like things that you need to be consistent and repetitive with,
What a powerful thing you just said. Because I try to explain this to people all the time. It's like the reason that I'm always putting in front of my face, the reason why I'm so excited to talk to people that like you, who are motivated, who are getting after it, who will take the time to call me to just see how I'm doing, because we feed off of each other. We know that like I'm doing some things that are interesting to you. You're doing some things that are interesting to me. Oh, here's a cool book. Hey, here's this thing. Yeah, I've heard a lot of this before. Yeah, I've read a lot of these books before, but exactly what you just said, it's a repetition. it's a rep until it gets ingrained into your operating system, and that's your default every day. It's going to take a long, long time to do that. And in fact, it's a journey, and it's supposed to take time. And like, how many episodes of Seinfeld can you watch? I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
what
yeah,
do you, what,
they're always funny, yeah, right.
yeah,
But
I mean,
same thing
I
with
could,
women. How
I
many?
can always watch Seinfeld, but I can always do personal development too. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing. It's not necessarily entertainment, but it is growth.
Yeah.
And I am recognizing that it fits in that container in my life.
And it's not entertainment, so to say, Jake, but it is. I don't even want to say fun. It's enjoyable. It's like enjoyable, like because let's face it, anytime you get better at anything, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's whether you do a personal max deadlift, whether you do learn a new move in jujitsu. No matter what you do to get better, it's always positive. You're never like, ah, shit, I just learned 3 new things today. Like you never, it's never regrettable. You know what I mean? It's like, and I always tell everybody, same thing with their workouts, right? This is how I motivate my clients. I'm like, you never regret when I say time on that last set that you came in and got your workout in, right? But if you did not get that workout in that day, you would regret it all the next day. You'd be like, damn. Like, so a good line I like to use is the pain of discipline stings a lot less than the pain of regret. So, yeah, putting the shoes on, getting up, that sucks for about 30 minutes. But once you get in and get the job done and get your workout done, you've got to win for the day, right? If you don't do that, then that regret is going to eat you up all day long. And the same thing with self-development. If like you're not constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly trying to be better. And again, there's also that fine line of being an information gatherer and being an implementer, right? So I try to implement, I'm not going to say everything. I'm not going to read a book and change my whole life, but if I implement 1 or 2 things from that are going to make me better throughout the course of the day. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of things I could still get better at. I could still be more disciplined with my sales calls, right? Things I don't like to do, right? That I try to pawn off on other people. But when it's your business, that's something that you should be doing. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's always things that I could do better. There's always ways I could become more successful. And, again, just applying like just little tidbits every day of some sort of improvement in your life, kind of adds up because, again, you can't overhaul your life in a week, and going to these conferences, going to these seminars and reading these books and all that stuff, sometimes you get that information overload where you drink out of a fire hose. It's like drinking water from a fire hose. When you open that thing and you get blasted in the face with all that water, you can only absorb so much of it, before the rest, you got to kind of let it kind of fall into place and, absorb it, slowly. So I love all that self-development and I can do something, I can listen to a podcast or do something, every week. So.
And whereabouts do we find you out on social media, or what kind of content are you putting out there? Can we subscribe to anything that you're doing? Like, give me kind of the lay of the land on where we can find Matt online.
Well, I got a website called mattespeut.com. So you can actually sign up for free workouts there, and you can actually get on my mailing list through there. You can buy my book. I actually published a book years ago called Unleash Your Full Potential. And it was just a compilation of all my articles that I had written, and I kind of edited them and published a book, which I have a copy of it right here. So you can go on Amazon and get that, Unleash Your Full Potential there. I'm on Facebook, Matt Espeut. Same thing with Instagram, Matt Espeut, and you just can find me on all those platforms. And basically the type of content I put out is every now and then I'll throw a little personal touch out there, something that I'm doing on a personal level. But most of my content is sharing stuff that I've learned, because like knowledge is great, but it's useless if you don't share it, right? So what's the point of accumulating knowledge if you're not going to give it out to other people, right? If you're going to keep it all for yourself, right? So I always try to, actually this Sunday I just posted a picture of me and Tim Grover I met last week I met him a while ago, but I met him again last week at the fitness at the World Conference, and I just kind of gave a little outline of his book, and people read these bullet points and hopefully they go out and they buy the book and it fires them up too, like it fired me up, always posting like different recipes and different, supplement, like structured supplement, like what to take and why to take it, and stuff like that. Just a lot of physical self-improvement, a lot of mental self-improvement is what I try to, project out in my daily timelines.
Absolutely, brother. Well, hey, thank you for coming by the podcast and spending about an hour with me today. Goes by
Oh, if
so
that was
quick.
an hour, man. If that was an hour, that flew by, brother.
Yeah, about 52 minutes is what I'm tracking at right now. So,
Awesome.
um, hey, again, thanks for your perspective. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your energy. And on a personal note, thanks for being a good man in my life. I appreciate having you. And what an honor it is for me to bring you onto the podcast to share my audience. What a cool and fascinating guy you are. So thanks again, man.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate, everything you did. And like the time we met, man, I was like, man, this guy, like, I don't know, man, you're always making fun of my accent. You're always, imitating me. And, the first time I met you, you're like, do I owe you money first? I was like, what's up with this guy? Like, never heard an accent like that before.
Yeah, so,
Always thought I can amuse you, buddy. It's like always fun to make people laugh. Whether they're laughing with me or at me, I don't know the difference half the time. But hey, making people laugh is also another good thing. So I'm glad we got this great relationship going, and I plan on being your brother for a long time, my man.
all right, cheers, my friend.
All right, you have a great day.